Good morning. Today we are going to start our new topic, protoplast isolation, culture and fusion. In those topic we will able to know how we will isolate the protoplast and how we can able to culture it, and before culturing or before can able to produce the single plant from the protoplast, we can able to use it so that we can able to make the hybrid plant. The protoplast we have to isolate since it is not naturally present, and these protoplast we can make in the laboratory by the two method, mechanical and enzymatic method. So the production of hybrid cell we can do by fusing two different type of plant species protoplast, and these two different type of protoplast we have to isolate, and when we will merge or we will fuse with the different type of fusion technique, and then we can able to produce the somatic hybrid. So somatic hybrid or somatic hybridization, where we can able to utilize to produce two type of cells, or so that they can be fused with each other and they can be able to produce the somatic hybrid cells, or somatic hybrid cells can able to produce the a hybrid plant. So somatic hybridization and such type of hybrid which is produced by the somatic hybridization are called somatic hybrids. Somatic hybridization is four stages. So first stage we have to isolate the protoplast. Then in second stage, after the isolation, we have to fuse it, and the protoplast fusion is the second step. Then so we have to select the somatic hybrid which is fused. So because some cells can be fused and some cell can't able to fuse. So only fused cells only we have to select in the media and in the buffer. So that hybrid or fused cell we have to select it, and these fused cell we can able to generate the entire plant. So in this four steps we can able to complete the somatic hybridization. Now because the first step itself is the protoplast isolation from a plant cell or explant we can do, and these plant cell and explant we can utilize to able to isolate the protoplast. Now production of the protoplast from a plant cell. Nowadays we are utilizing the cocktail of the enzymes, so success rate it is increased. But previously the mechanical method was there, and those mechanical method is not that much of successful compared to enzymatic method. So plant cell is surrounded by the cell wall. So nucleus, cytoplasm, plasma membrane, and the outermost layer is the cell wall. So the cell wall is composed of pectin, cellulose, and hemicellulose. So these component is basically is sugar and polysaccharide type of sugar. If we can able to degrade it by using the enzyme, so that we can able to get rid of this cell wall. So what we have to do, we have to prepare a cocktail. In the cocktail we have to mix the pectinase 0.1 to 1%. If the plant cell you are taking from the woody tissues, then you have to increase the concentration. If you are taking the plant cell which is very soft type of tissue like leaf tissues is there, then we can decrease the concentration. So usually we have to use pectinase enzyme 0.1 to 1%, and cellulase enzyme we have to use 1 to 2%. Since these concentration is depend on the concentration of the pectin and cellulose inside the cell wall. So always we have to see the what type of plant and how much concentration is there, or how much composition of the cell wall is there. So woody plant they have more cellulose and pectin, so that we have to treat the a little bit more concentration with the enzyme. Then these enzyme cocktail we have to mix into the buffer solution, and buffer solution we have to provide 500 to 800 millimolar per liter sorbitol, 50 to 100 millimolar per liter calcium chloride. These two chemical we have to use since we have to maintain the osmoregularity of the cell, so that when the cell wall is start degrading, so the concentration of the salt or balancing of the salt it will be there. Otherwise, if you are not using the proper ion concentration, then what will happen, these ion concentration can change the permeability of the membrane, so that the membrane will be disturbed and then protoplast will be damaged permanently. So when we will do these type of overnight reaction in the enzyme containing cocktail and the osmoregulators with that, so the be able to degrade by these two enzymes and we have the protoplast. So if you see the protoplast don't have cell wall and it is surrounded on the plasma membrane. Since this plasma membrane is very flexible, that's why it don't have any structure. So when we are isolating the protoplast, always we have to choose the young plants. Seeing young plants, the protoplast is in the young stage and they can able to produce more good result. So always we have to take the young plants, and usually we are taking the protoplast isolation explant from the young leaf. We can take other explant also like stem, root, or meristematic tissues, but the when most of the plant experiment on for the isolation of the protoplast we are doing from the young leaf. Then we are when we are doing epidermis peeling, then after that we have to cut into the small pieces so that the enzyme can able to function on these pieces very effectively. If we will keep the entire leaf in the enzyme cocktail, then enzyme will not penetrate inside the leaf tissues or cells and they will not able to digest the cell wall. That's why we have after the peeling of the epidermis, we can keep it inside the buffer and then we have to cut it into small pieces and then we have to treat with the enzyme cocktail. For plasmolysis, we have to keep these cells inside the hypertonic solution so that it will be plasmolyzed. So if you will keep these cells into the hypertonic solution, so what will happen? Whatever water content it will be there inside the cell, it will come out and the actual plant cell which is inside the plasma membrane, it will shrink. When we are doing the plasmolysis, so the plant cell will not plasmolyze. So plasma membrane and cytoplasm they are all shrink, but the cell wall it will not shrink. So we have to plasmolyze using the hypertonic solution. Then in next step we have to digest the cell wall. So we will put these small pieces in the enzymatic mixture and salt osmolyticum we have to provide. So these palette of the protoplast we can isolate using the centrifugation. So after the digestion we have to put the solution inside the centrifugation. So the plant debris will be formed as a pellet and your protoplast will be in the solution. Then after separating the protoplast by the micropipette, we have to do plating on the MS media containing Petri plate, and if we will plate on the Morashige and scoop media so that protoplast can able to again regenerate the cell wall. Then when we regenerate the cell wall, these type of cells divide and then it will form clumps of the cells. These clumps of the cells can able to form many colonies, and these colony we will pick and we will put these colonies onto the callus differentiation media. So callus can able to differentiate and these callus can able to differentiate into the shooting or root. So either you can produce shoot or root from the callus. So shoot is more suitable than the root. So after the shooting, you have to transfer these plant cells inside the. You have to transfer these shoots on the root initiation media, and these shoot can able to produce the rooting when you will put on the MS containing use root in the induction media. So these plantlet can able to harden it and they can be supplied to the farmers. Then importance of protoplast isolation and culture. Now when we are isolating the protoplast for culture purpose and fusion purpose, this will open the fascinating world of the research. And this technique is very important because of the many reasons. But we will discuss these are all reasons here very in detail. So when we want to produce the novel hybrid plant through protoplast fusion, and genetic engineering would continue to be an exciting area of research in modern plant biotechnology. This technology holds great promises to synthesize a plant of desired characteristic, because when we can able to use these plants so that the plants will be fused, and the characteristics of these two plant cells can able to merge into the a single cell. So from single cell we can able to produce the a plantlet, and from a single cell also we can able to produce the multiple cell. So the hybrid plant we can able to produce, and these hybrids plant can able to give to the farmer so that they can be benefited. And this help in the crop improvement of somatic hybridization and cell modification. So when we are producing the protoplast and after the fusion technique, so that we can easily improve the crop, and we no need to wait so much long that when they will in conventional hybridization method we have to produce the flower, and then again we have to use the in vitro fertilization we have to do so that the hybrid plant can able to produce. In this technique of the protoplast isolation and culture, we no need to wait months of or years of time, year of the time, so that in a very short time we can able to produce the hybrid cells, and these hybrid cells in very short time, like 3 to 4 months, we can able to get the many plants. So protoplast in culture can be regenerated into an entire plant. So when we will get the hybridized plant, these hybridized plant we can able to culture it in very short time, and the entire plants or n number of plant we can able to produce, and after the hardening we can able to transfer to the feed. This technique provides a tool for isolating protoplast and exploring the possibilities of genetic engineering. So if some scientists want to transfer genes from the one organism or multiple organism, so just they have to construct the genes, and using the agrobacterium mediated gene transfer or gene gun or bioelastic technique or micro injection, they can use it very easily. Since the plant cell don't have cell wall, so the success rate is very high when they are start transferring the external gene for foreign genetic material from one organism to plant cell. So technique in future will be one of the most frequently used research tool for tissue culturist, physiologist, pathologist, molecular biologist, cytogenetics, and biotechnologists. So the expert from different field, they can utilize these protoplast, and they can easily they can transfer their genetic material of for foreign genetic material very easily. Even though they can able to produce a hybrid plant very easily using protoplast fusion. Then isolation of protoplast. So word protoplast was coined by the Einstein in 1880, and he said that the living matter surrounded by the cell membrane. So the isolated protoplast is highly fragile because it don't have the cell wall, and outer plasma membrane is fully exposed with the other type external environment. So the plasma membrane is the only barrier between the interior of the living plant cell and the external environment. So in between these two, interior part and external environment, only plasma membrane is there. That's why it is highly fragile. Then isolation of plasma membrane we can done by the three methods. First one is the mechanical method, and mechanical method also, since we are not using any type of enzyme, that's why we are calling non-enzymatic method. Then second method is sequential enzymatic method, and the sequential enzymatic method we will finish in 2 steps. Then third method is mixed enzymatic method, and this enzymatic method we can do in the not in 2 step, only single step we will do. Then if we will see the mechanical method, what we have to do, we have to first take a mother plant, and from mother plant we have to select the young leaf, and these young leaves we have to sterilize it into the laminar airflow bench. Then after the sterilization inside the laminar airflow bench or a sterile condition, we have to cut it so that it will be in small pieces. And when we will cut into the very small pieces inside the buffer, so somewhere the some protoplast will be free, they will come out inside the buffer solution. And when we are cutting, before that these pieces we have to put inside the plasmolysis solution. So for plasmolysis, what we have to do, we have to keep these tissues inside the hypertonic solution. So hypertonic solution, when we will keep for some hours, these plant cells will be highly plasmolized, and when these plasmolized cells we will cut into the small pieces so that the protoplast will be released from the plant cell, and these released plant cell we can able to centrifuge it so that cell debris will be formed pellet and your protoplast is present in the solution or buffer. So then we have to utilize the micropipette, and when we will take these solution or buffer, and these solution buffers is containing the protoplast, then we can keep into the different Apandroff tubes, and then we have to centrifuge it on the high speed, but not too much high speed, just 1500 rpm is enough. And when we are doing 1500 rpm, the protoplast cell will be formed pellet, and then we can separate it, and then we can start culturing. So this method was first developed by Lee Kapchar in 1982. Using this method, he itself isolated many plant protoplast cells. So in this method, we already discussed the plasmolized tissues from the young plant cell. We will use to further cut using the sharp knife inside the buffer solution, and when we will cut in such a manner, so some cells which is loosely attached to the cell wall, they will come out inside the dilution solution or buffer solution, and these protoplasts or isolated protoplasts we can isolate or we can separate it by the centrifugation. So generally protoplasts were isolated from highly vacuolated cell of storage tissue like onion bulb, scalls, radish root, beetroot. So these are all the some common plant material we can easily isolate the protoplast through mechanical method. Then next method is sequential enzymatic method. So this method was first described by the Takibi and their colleagues in 1968 in two steps. So the macerated tissue was first incubated in pectinase, and this pectinase can able to degrade the pectins, which is for the main part of the cell wall. And after the washing with these pectinase, so that the pectinase will be removed, then we have to treat these tissues of cells with the cellulase enzyme, and these enzyme can able to degrade the cellulase cell wall. So for when the cellulose will be degraded, so that the plant cell wall will be completely digested by these enzymes, and your protoplast will be liberated inside the solution. Then mixed enzymatic method. In this method, we are going to mix the pectinase and cellulase, and we are preparing the single cocktail for the enzymatic isolation of the protoplast. So one step method or one step procedure only we are doing, and together these two enzymes we will mix and we will treat the tissues. So Power and Cocking in 1968 they discovered this method, and this is now very efficient method for the isolation of protoplast. So protoplast can be isolated by treating cells with a suitable mixture of cell called degrading enzyme, and the mixture of pectinase or macerozyme 0.1 to 1.9% and cellulase 1 to 2% is suitable for the majority of the plant parts. So in this very small concentration, these pectinase and cellulase will be mixed in a single cocktail, and this single cocktail can able to treat with the tissues. And when we are treating with these cocktail to the tissues, the cell wall will be easily digested in the overnight. So commercial available enzyme has enabled the isolation of protoplast from the practically every plant tissues, and their pH value is adjusted between 4.7 to 6 and is kept at a temperature of 25 to 30 degree overnight. So when we will treat these pectinase and cellulase enzyme overnight, all the cell wall content will be digested by these enzymes, and in the next morning just you have to wash it and centrifuge it so that you can separate with the cell debris and the protoplast. Now source of the protoplast. Virtually we can use any type of explant for the protoplast isolation, but mostly we are utilizing leaves, and the leaf is the most convenient and popular source of plant protoplast isolation, because this it's allow isolation of large number of relatively uniform type of cells, and protoplast isolation from leaves involves five basic steps. First one is the sterilization of leaf, so that all type of bacterial, fungi, and protozoal contamination will be removed on the surface of the leaves. Then we have to remove the epidermal cell layers so that the pre-treatment can be very effective when we are directly keeping these epidermal released cells. The next step is the enzymatic treatment and overnight incubation with the cocktail of the enzyme so that these cocktail can able to degrade the cell wall of the plant cell. Then isolation by filtration and centrifugation. So next step, when the plant cell will be digested, plant cell debris and the protoplast. So for that we have to centrifuge it, and then when we are doing centrifugation, your protoplast will be in the solution and the cell debris in the back pellet. Now application of the protoplast. First application is the production of callus culture. So young callus culture are also ideal material for obtaining the large quantities of the protoplast, because old callus culture tend to form giant cell with cell wall which are usually different to digest, and therefore young actively growing callus is subculture and used after 2 weeks of the protoplast isolation. So after the protoplast isolation, we can use these protoplasts to initiate the callus induction, and for that we have to keep the protoplast on the Murashige and spoon media containing the auxin and cytokine, so that these protoplasts can able to differentiate into the callus cells, and these callus cells can able to again and again subculture so that the required quantity or numbers we can easily achieve. Next is cell suspension culture. So cell suspension culture, as we know earlier, that as we earlier studied, that cell suspension is a culture of the cells in the liquid media. So here what we are doing when we are having the callus, so that callus if we will suspend it in the liquid media, so these callus cells will be suspended inside the media. Now these suspension culture we can utilize to isolate the protoplast. So in this suspension culture we have to mix the cellulase and pectinase, and then overnight incubation we have to do approx 6 to 7 hours. Then when next day we will centrifuge it, so supernatant we can collect from the supernatant, and the protoplast we can able to collect from the supernatant, and the pellet to these remaining cell debris we can separate it. So supernatant containing the protoplast, if we want to culture it, so we can able to culture it. So one volume of protoplast in the liquid suspension media, and another one volume of culture media without any cells we have to use, and 1.2% agar if we want to add we can add, so that it will be solid type of media. Then in this petri plate we have to incubate overnight and in the inverted condition on 25 degrees centigrade in with the illumination. Then after some days these cells will able to divide, and they can able to produce colonies, and these colonies can be subculture onto the fresh agar media if you want to culture it in the one petri plate. If you can pick up very easily, then you can able to culture in the multiple plates. Then later on, if you will put these colonies of callus cell into the shoot induction media, so they can able to produce the shoots, and then these shoot if you will put on the root induction media, so they can able to produce the roots. Then how we can able to know whether the isolated protoplast is viable or not viable. So several method is there to able to know that whether the particular type of isolated protoplast is viable or not. So you can do simple microscopic observation whether the cell is having cytosis, or so that you can able to know that cell is viable. So you can use the phase contrast microscope, and in phase contrast microscope just you have to check the whether cytoplasmic streaming movement is there, and the cytoplasmic streaming movement is if it is there, so we can able to say that the cell is in healthy condition. And If cells don't have the cytoplasmic staining movement, then we can say the cell is died. So number of cells, if they are having more cytoplasmic staining, then the percentage of viability will be more in the protoplast isolation. If cell screening movement is very less, like 5% or 10%, 20%, then we can say that the during the isolation of the cell, the cell was died. For seeing the cytoplasmic streaming movement, the phase contrast microscope is better because the observation of unstained cell under wide field is highly difficult, and we can't able to use some my stains because these stains will affect the metabolic activity, and many stains they will kill the plant cell. Then tetrazolium reduction test is there. Through this test we can able to know that whether plant is viable or not viable. So 2,3,5 triphenyl tetrazolium chloride, or TTC, or tetrazolium in simple words, we can use it, and we can put these viable and non-viable type of cells. And this tetrazolium chloride can able to make the red dye formazone. So formazone form can be extracted and measured using the spectrum photometrically. The amount of formazone creation will indicate the how much viability is present in the cell. Now next method is fluorescein diacetate method. In this method 0.5% fluorescein diacetate we will prepare, and this solution we have to prepare in the acetone. After preparing this solution, we can store up to 0 degree centigrade, and then if we want to use for future viability analysis, we can take it out and then we can test it the protoplast. So we have to add 0.01% of the final concentration to the protoplast suspension, and with the osmotic stabilizer also we have to add in the suspension. Then after 5 minutes of incubation, the cells are observed in the under microscope, and when suitable filter we will put so that the live cell we can able to see colorless type of film. So if we will able to put the green filter, so live cell we can be able to see, and very easily here the green cells is in the light color, and the dead cell is in the colorless. Then next method is Evans blue staining method, and Evans blue is a chemical or dye name, and we have to prepare 0.025% of solution, and for the staining purpose 0.025% of Evans solution we have to prepare, and this Evans blue will give the color of the dead protoplast and becoming permeable to deadness, whereas the visible protoplast remain colorless due to impermeability of plasma membrane of the stain. So here in the stain, the dead cell is in the blue color, and the those cell which is since they are live, so their natural color it will be show like green color. So since they are having chloroplast, and so that they are visible under the microscope, when we will see these protoplast and living cells, it will be shown as a green color. And here you can see some cells are dyed, and you can able to recognize these blue cells as a dyed cells. So calculating the viability of the cell, we have to culture it so that they can able to divide, and they can able to produce either callus, or they can able to produce the shoot and then rooting and then plantlet we can able to produce. The first step in the protoplast culture is to develop of a cell wall around the membrane of isolated protoplast, and this is followed by induction of division in the protoplast, dried new cells giving rise to a small cell colonies. So when we are culturing the protoplast on a MS media, and the first step they will start the preparing the cell walls around it, and cells slowly they will regain the cell wall, and they will be in the normal uh, cell characteristics. So after the cell wall synthesis, they will start dividing, and we can able to see every day the new cells is growing in the culture plate. So isolated protoplast or their hybrid cells are cultured either in a liquid or agar media, and the common practice of using a liquid culture media include either incubating protoplast at prokaryon in a thin layer or small drop of nutrient media inside a petri dish, which in turn is covered by another petri plate, and finally sealed with the paraffin. The culture dish then maintained at low light or dark condition at 25 to 28 degrees. So when these protoplast cells develop the cell wall, we can able to put into the liquid media, suspension media, or either we can put the semi-solid media. If we are keeping them in the semi-solid media, then they can able to produce more cell, or you can able to put them into the shoot induction media, so shooting it will come. Or embryos also you can able to produce from these cells. And if you are putting these protoplast in the liquid media, so these liquid media can able to support them to divide very fast, so that number of cell can be very increased in the media. So culturing the protoplast in the nutrient media containing about 2 ml of aggregate of isolated protoplast of suitable density are mixed with an equal volume of agar nutrient media, and the temperature of which should not be exceed to the 45 degrees centigrade. And on solidification of the agar, the culture plates are sealed and maintained in the inverted position at 25 to 28 degrees. With this method, individual protoplasts of heterocarbon can be conveniently observed under a microscope and plating efficiency readily determined. So for protoplast, when we are isolated, we have to culture it, and in the inverted position, we can put and the temperature should be maintained 25 to 28 degrees. So when you are prepared the semi-solid media and semi-solid media, just when temperature near about 45 to 44 degrees centigrade, so that time you have to mix the protoplast, and these protoplasts will be suspended, and then you can plate it in the battery plate. Solid media will be solidified, so protoplast will be impregnated. And these plates you have to cover it and you have to seal it, so that these plates you can put in the inverted position, and you have to incubate on the 24, 25 and 26 degree centigrade. And after the incubation, these protoplasts can able to develop into the colonies, and then you have to pick up these colonies. So in this photograph you can able to see that how we can able to do genetic engineering of the plant. We have to prepare the first vectors and vector containing a foreign gene, and then we can able to isolate the protoplast from a healthy plant. These protoplast with the your prepared vector, and these prepared vector you have to put in into the agrobacterium. An agrobacterium culture which is harboring your foreign gene can able to mix with the suspension culture, and then you the successfully transferred agrobacterium mediated gene transfer you have to select by the screenable marker and selectable marker. And when the successfully transformed cell you have to select it, and non successfully transformed already died, so that it will be very easy method. Then only successfully transformed cell you can use plating method to able to generate colonies, and after the colony production you can able to produce the regeneration of to the callus, or you can able to produce the embryo, and from the embryo you can able to produce the healthy plant plate. And this plant plate you can able to transfer into the acclimatization zone, and after the acclimatization you can able to put into the greenhouse, and then after some time you can give to the farmers for their benefit. Next is protoplast regeneration. So regeneration of the cell wall, it will be the first step, and protoplasts are developing a cell wall around itself within a few hours, and it take only few days to complete the process. So cell wall materials are progressively deposited at the surface of the plasma, and the cellulose is deposited either between the plasma lemma and the multilamellar wall material, or directly on the plasma lemma. The nature of biosynthesis of the cell wall depend on the plant material and the system of the protoplast culture. So when we are isolating the protoplast, so these protoplasts can able to synthesize the cell wall, and where just they required a aseptic condition and the nutrient concentration, and Murashige and spoon media is suitable for the protoplast culture itself. So you have to put these protoplasts into the suitable media like Murashige and spoon media, and then automatically within it some few days they can able to resynthesize the complete cell wall. So newly built cell wall can be observed either by the plasmolysis and the protoplast of the transferring into the hypertonic solution. So the again cells will be plasmolized and we can able to stand it, and cell wall with the chalcofloor we can able to stand, and these cell wall newly synthesized cell wall we can easily see in the microscope. So electron microscopic study and freezing the etching studies have freezing technique study have revealed too much about the structure and progressive development of the cell wall around the protoplast in culture media. So we can observe the newly synthesized cell wall with the chalcofloor, and under the electron microscope we can observe how the cell wall is synthesizing day by day. So observing regularly the regeneration of cell wall, cell division in small callus formation under inverted microscope we can able to utilize. Examining cell wall formation in protoplast with a droplet of 0.1% chalcofluoride or and American cyanamide and bound Pro USA in zero point 0.4 molars of bitter solution. On a slide we have to put the cell wall regenerated protoplast can be fluorescence, can able to produce the fluorescence. Then small clusters of calli are observed under 2-3 weeks of culturing protoplast, and subculture of cell cluster on a freshly prepared protoplast culture media with or without half of the mannitol, and 0.8 to 1.6% agar it can able to produce. Then development of callus or whole plant. So you have two options: either you can produce the callus or you can able to produce the shooting, so that after the shooting you can able to put these shoots on the root of the induction media, so you can able to get the healthy plantlet. So when you are keeping these cells in a media, so within the 7 days they can able to form the complete cell wall, and they can also start dividing. And when they will start dividing, so after 7 to 10 days you can able to see the some colonies very small under the microscope, and if you want you can able to take it out these colonies, and these colonies you can put on the either you can put on the suspension culture in the less amount, and or you can put on the semi-solid media, so that these callus can able to divide and they can able to produce more callus. Now next is protoplast fusion. So plant protoplasts represent the finest single cell system that could offer exciting possibilities, and many open field is there where you can able to experiment on the genetics and the growth improvement. And protoplast fusion can be used to make process within the species like intra-species, and in between the species like inter-species process, and within the genera intrageneric, or between the genera intergeneric process also you can able to produce the hybrid plant. So when you are taking two protoplasts from the some different species, we are calling intra-species cross. If we are able to produce the in between the species, then we are calling inter-species cross. If we are fusing the two cells which is taking from the two different genera, then we are calling intrageneric cross. And if we are taking the two different cells from the two different genera, then we are calling intrageneric fusion. So number of methods have been used to induce fusion between these different type of plant cells, and successful result already obtained by the many scientists. There are three type of protoplast fusion. First one is the spontaneous fusion, second one is mechanical fusion, and third one is induced fusion. So first we will see the spontaneous fusion. In spontaneous fusion, the adjacent protoplast in enzyme mixture have tendency to fuse together to form homokaryon. And the homokaryon, we know these cells which is having same type of nucleus. So when we will keep these protoplasts, and these protoplasts, since they are very new type of cells, they don't have any cell wall, so these protoplasts will be fused together, and these fused protoplasts we can able to see some protoplast which is having two paired nucleus, and we can able to use microscope, and we can able to search those protoplasts, and we can put into the new into the fresh media. Then mechanical method also there, and in the mechanical method, what we have to do, if you are doing protoplast in the suspension culture, just you have to do gentle tapping on the tube which is containing your protoplast. So because of the gentle tapping, the protoplast will together attach, and they will fuse automatically. So giant protoplast of acetylchloria have been fused mechanically by pushing together two protoplasts. This fusion doesn't depend upon the presence of fusion and fusion inducing it is not depend on the presence of fusion inducing agent, and just gentle tapping is sufficient to fuse the protoplast. Next method is induced fusion method, and for the induction we are utilizing many type of fusogens. These fusogens are made up of chemicals like sodium nitrite, artificial seawater, lysozyme, high pH and calcium concentration, polyethylene glycol, polyvinyl alcohol, or electrofusion. So these are all chemicals, and various physical technique is there, and these techniques we will discuss one by one. Now, first one is sodium nitrate treatment. So, induced fusion by sodium nitrate was first demonstrated by Power and their colleagues in 1970, and isolated protoplast he cleaned by the floating in sucrose osmoticum and transferring these protoplasts in the 0.25 molar sodium nitrate, and this solution can able to fuse the protoplast, and when after the fusion we can use centrifugation, and centrifugation also promote the fusion of the protoplast. So this procedure result in low frequency of hydrocarbon formation, and protoplast are markedly altered in their uptake capability. The next method is high pH and calcium treatment, and this method was developed by the Keller and Melchius in 1973, and they fused the two different type of lines of tobacco protoplast, and they used zero point 0.4 molar mannitol containing 0.05 molar calcium chloride with pH 10.5. For pH maintaining, they mixed 0.05 molar glycine and sodium. They maintain the temperature on 37 degrees centigrade, and the aggregation of the protoplast generally take place at once, and fusion occur within the 10 minutes. So many interspecific or somatic hybrid was prepared using this procedure. The next chemical we utilize for the protoplast fusion is the polyethylene glycol, and it is very important fusing agent or fusogen, because the many plant through this polyethylene glycol we prepared. So about 0.6 ml of polyethylene glycol solution is added in the drop to a pellet of protoplast in the tube. Then after the the protoplast in polyethylene glycol are incubated at room temperature for 40 minutes. So 40 minutes itself it is very efficient for the protoplast fusion, and this followed by the elution of polyethylene glycol by adding of zero point 0.5 to 1 ml of the protoplast culture media in the tube after the every 10 minutes. So when we are adding polyethylene glycol in the media, so polyethylene glycol induce the fusing of the protoplast, and after the fusing we can able to centrifuge it, and using centrifuge we can able to separate those fused cells very easily. So after the treatment with fusion, a protoplast are cultured following the standard procedure. Protoplast polyethylene glycol either provide a bridge by which calcium plus 2 ion can bind membrane surface together, or leads to disturbance in the surface charge during the dilution process. So here you can see in this image how polyethylene glycol will function. Two protoplast cell is there, cell A and cell B. It may be a form of the same species, it may be a form different species. So we will mix these two type of protoplast in the polyethylene glycol containing solution, and the concentration 28 to 50% we will utilize. These polyethylene glycol will coat the cells, and this polyethylene glycol induce the cell fusion, so that the cells will become with two type of these two strands nucleus will be there in the cell. Then later on these nucleus also fuse and they will form the hybrid cell. This cell can able to propagate as a healthy plantlet, and you will get the hybrid cell which is having both type of characters of strain A and strain B. And in this method we are using steps method, and so in the first step we have to fuse appropriately oriented opposite the electrode, and the short pulse of high voltage is released, and which will induce the protoplast to fuse. Then after the short pulse we have to give high voltage, and this high voltage will fuse these plasma lemma which is nearby the cells, and the protoplast will be fused. So when we are giving first step electric shock, so protoplast will be oriented in the same position, and then we will give the high voltage so that protoplast will be fused. And the timing we have to reduce it, so if we will increase the timing, the cell will die. So the in short duration we can give the electric short in these two steps. So entire operation is carried out manually in specially designed equipment called the electroporator. Here is the electroporator design, and you can this is a fusion chamber and two electrode positive electrode and negative electrode is there, and between we have to keep the our protoplast, and these electrode can able to connect it with the AC voltage and DC voltage, so that you can give these DC and AC type of voltage. Next, protoplast fusion hybrid and selection method. So after the protoplast fusion you have to select the correctly fused protoplast with the not fused protoplast or unfused protoplast. So proper selection of hybrid protoplast of the cell is almost very important for the improvement. And if you are selecting wrong type of protoplast which is not fused, then you will not get the accurate result. So different method is utilized for the selection of the protoplast fusion technique. So on the basis of physical characteristic we can able to select these fused protoplast with the non-fused type of protoplast. Now drug sensitivity and resistance. Here is the one example we will see to understand the drug sensitivity and resistance. One variety of Petunia hybrida which is sensitive to the actinomycin D, another variety which is resistant to actinomycin D. When we will take it out their protoplast and then we will fuse it, so the hybrid plant fused protoplast have a mixture of both characters, and they form the macroscopic colonies and resistant to actinomycin D on the MS media supplemented with the actinomycin D. So the plant having what type of character, then we can able to generate the plantlet. Next method is for the producing the auxotropic mutant. So original protoplast have the capacity to grow in minimal media is known as prototroph. So the mutant of the prototroph which is not having the capacity to grow in the minimal media is known as the auxotroph. So auxotroph and prototroph is two characteristic, and on the basis of these characteristics we can able to select the protoplast. So the hybrid protoplast are known to grow in the minimal media, and they can also tropic media. These fused type of protoplast we can able to easily select on the auxotrophic media, because the auxotrophic media fused plant can able to grow because they are having the characteristic of both plant, and the plant which don't able to grow on the auxotrophic media automatically they will die very easily. Then another method, visual selection is there, and visual selection we can see these protoplast into the microscope, and the microscope when we will see using visually we can able to select by seeing the heterokaryon, and heterokaryon since it is the mixture of two, it is a fused nucleus, so that It is very big in size and green in color. Whereas the parental protoplast, they are having small size of nucleus and the color of the protoplast is less. This is further differentiated by using suitable selective media which support good growth of the hybrid cells. Then fluorescence label is also another technique, and this technique is very latest or modern technique to detect the fused protoplast. If the two original protoplast culture are pre-incubated for 12 to 15 hours, one in octadecyanyl aminofluorescein and the other in octadecyl palmine, each group of protoplast takes on a specific fluorescent color and the dye are non-toxic and do not affect the viability. So it will be very easy to use these type of the dye because your cell will not be killed by using these dye, and after the checking these effectiveness of the protoplast fusion, then you can able to again culture it and you can able to regenerate the protoplast cell wall. So after the fusion of the protoplast, protoplast may be identified by their fluorescence characteristic under a fluorescence microscope. Now next technique is production of hybrid. Hybrid is a short form of cytoplasmic hybrid, and these hybrid cells we can able to produce when we are fusing the plant cell which is containing nucleus of species and cytoplasm of both the parental species, and the cytoplasm we are mixing from the two different type of cells. So cytoplasm of the two different cells, and we know the cytoplasm is having mitochondria from cell A and cell B, and and chloroplast from the cell A, cell B, and nucleus only from the either from the A cell or from the B cells. So these are generally produced during the protoplast fusion in variable frequencies, and we can able to fuse these type of hybrid these type of cells hybrid production when we are fusing two different type of cells from two different type of species, and the cell which is having cytoplasm from two different cells and the nucleus from a single species. So hybrid can able to produce by the mixing only cytoplasm, not only the mixing the nucleus. Now application of somatic hybridization. So when we are producing the somatic hybrids, that using this technique we can able to produce the genetic recombination in asexual or a sterile plant, which is very easy to produce. In nature, the genetic recombination is very hard to produce in the sterile plant. So using this somatic hybridization and hybridization, you can easily able to produce these genetically recombined plant varieties. So next is overcoming sex compatibility. So sexual crossing between two different genus failed to produce hybrid due to incompatible barrier, and this can be easily overcome by the somatic cells fusion of two different species or genus. Then transfer of cytoplasmic characters such as cytoplasmic male sterility, rate of photosynthesis, resistance to disease or herbicides, and low or high temperature tolerance are generally made to transfer to the other strains. To recover recombinant of mitochondrial or chloroplast DNA, so that the cytoplasmic characters we can utilize to transfer the DNA. So mitochondria of the one species can be combined with the chloroplast of another species. This may be very important in some cases and is not possible by sexual methods. Even between easily crossable species, they will not do mitochondria combination of the another species and the combination of mitochondria with the chloroplast. It is not possible in the nature. So using these are all technique, we can easily able to produce the hybrid type of plant. Now some important books for the further study. So first book is Method in Plant Tissue Culture by the U. Kumar. Second important book is Plant Tissue Culture by the Bhojwani and Razdan. Third book is Biotechnology Series 5th. Then sixth book is Biotechnology by the PDCs. Now we will see some important question. First question is plant cell without cell wall called. Option A is protoplast. Option B chloroplast. Option C preplast. Option D preplast. So any one correct answer you have to choose. Second option, generation of a whole plant from a single cell called A. Totipotency, B. Protoplast, C. Reproduction, D. Embryogenesis. Any one correct answer you have to choose. Then next question, mechanical method of protoplast isolation was first done by option A. Clearcher, option B. Spook, option C. Murashige, option D. White. So any one correct answer you have to select. Then next question, the word protoplast was coined by Space in 1880. A. Hanstein, B. Spook, C. Murashige, and D. Hannings. Any one correct answer we have to select. Then next question, the isolation of protoplast can be done by option A. Mechanical method, option B. Sequential enzymatic method, option C. Mixed enzymatic method, and option D. All options are correct. So you have to select the any one correct answer. Then next question, high salt content solution called option A hypertonic solution, option B hypotonic solution, option C isotonic solution, option D isocratic solution. So any one correct answer you have to choose it. So thank you with us. We'll meet you again in the next topic. Thank you.